Hey guys, my name is Madison Wingo, and I will be presenting on this unique sport of acro sports slash circus arts, and this will be my sport injury presentation. So the environment of the circus is obviously super unique. A little bit about me. I actually grew up in the circus, so I have 12 years of experience and also performed professionally for a couple years. So I do know a little bit about the environment of it. So training is ongoing and is based around performances. So however the performance season is and based on your organization, we were ongoing and we trained every year. So this can also be performed outside, as you can see in one of the pictures. This could be performed on a tripod using various mats, and can also be like in a gymnasium usually, or in like a tent, as traditionally you guys can see it. But anywhere where you can hang equipment up or lay out mats, like you can kind of do it everywhere where the surface is even. And also there's a lot of different acts that can be performed. So we got aerial silks, aerial hoop. You can see in some of the pictures of acro pyramids. And my favorite is actually singing trapeze. So that's like one of my favorite acts. So it's just a little bit about me. So what I'm doing specifically for this project, as you guys can see, that there's a wide range of circus arts. I decided to do professional aerial artists, specifically that are female. And so it is definitely a different than like unicycling or juggling. Like you're gonna get different injuries when you're constantly using your upper body to hold your strength up, right? So they're regularly performing in professional shows. So this could be like people in Vegas, and also skills that are focused in the air. Like I said, not like ground acts, focused in the air. That usually they're gonna use their upper body strength. So, fundamental skills for this. I really got basic kicking for fundamental because that can be kicking in the air, and using those hip flexor muscles to kick and exude force is what I got for fundamental. But really, it's more advanced dynamic movements that you're going to be using. So sport related, I got coordination. It takes a lot of coordination to be in the air, know what you're doing. We got balance, right? You see in that picture, that balance is a huge thing of it. You need to understand like how to balance your body and how to use your body effectively to be able to like perform a trick. Agility, right? Agility is moving fast, being able to perform a skill and to be agile with it, especially if you're working with another person. Power, to perform a trick, like again, like if you're doing flips, or if you're trying to perform a really hard move, like all of that is going to require power. It's going to require speed for the music, and also reaction time, be able to catch someone or to be able to react to your situation is definitely like really dynamic, and also health related. So flexibility, you guys can see it takes a lot of flexibility to be able to participate in something like this. And also muscular endurance, depending on how long the performance is, you need to be able to hold yourself up, let's say for 3 minutes, so that's, and also muscular strength to be able to hold someone else up, to be able to pull up your own body in a short amount of time. And also body composition has a huge aspect on lifting yourself up, holding yourself up, being able to flip around and not get really tired. Like that's going to be a lot of components of health. So the injuries that I chose to do, there's a lot of like soft tissue injuries in my research, but mostly it's going to be overuse injuries that are going to be what we can prevent. So that will be muscular skeletal injuries. My very first one was muscle strains in the hip and groin area. So that will be like hip flexors, your adductus longus, muscles that connect the hip bone, and that's going to be overused. We got rotator cuff tendonitis. You guys can see in this one of these pictures, like, I mean, it's going to be like you're overusing these muscles, you're overstretching them in weird positions that you're not normally going to be doing in like a normal sport. So and also pulled hamstrings. With flexibility and the balance of strength, we'll see that those two things need to go together to be able to keep that flexibility, but also not overuse a big muscle group like that. So according to Wonky and like personal experience, this can happen due to falling, getting caught, like landing kind of wrong, twisting, pushing, being hit by something, like overstretching, as I said, like in the hamstrings, and also slipping. Like that's a real reality that happens in the circus. So it is obvious, this is their quote, it is obvious that female students had a higher proportion of upper body injuries. These injuries in female students may result from the high workload as well as from the discrepancy between the degree of difficulty and the muscular stabilization capability and the power capability together with the simultaneous hypermobility in extreme range of movement, which is required for the circus. So definitely super extreme. You're doing really crazy stuff. It's a really high workload, and so it was upper extremity in females, and then they found that in males it's more lower extremity, which is interesting, right? Because females were more flexible in the lower body ranges, and we're not as strong in the upper body. So interesting. So reasons for injury, I found a lot of things, and there's a lot of dynamic stuff that happens that you can't really plan for. But what I saw, and we'll see this a lot, is increase in workload. And so as you're increasing in the amount of shows you're performing, the amount of tricks you're doing, the amount of time it takes to change between acts or whatever, like that all plays a part in injury management. And so improper training, we don't really see that in professionals. Muscle fatigue, they train for that. Improper technique, sometimes that happens. Lack of recovery time, right? So like being overexerting yourself. Mental load, like it's not just all about the physical. And then external factors, so weather, you might slip on equipment if it's wet. Training space, is it big, is it small? Sleeping patterns, are you traveling, like are you really tired, are you going to get injured that way? And so stage management, this is like different, right, for production and performance. Stage management, technical staff, like hey, like are you missing your cues, is there a light in your face, is that distracting, what about the audience, like there's different factors that can like result in injury. Wardrobe, like is your wardrobe slippery? Did you not like put sticky stuff on you so that you don't slip off the equipment? And casting, like maybe there's someone that you don't work well with and they don't catch you, like stuff like that. And that was found from Boiling 2019. We'll see that later too, in an article. So injury prevention strategies, equipment design, we got artist rotation, rotating artists, we got, again, workload. We'll go over strength and conditioning program, and then a rapid and appropriate rehabilitation of an injury. We do not want to be like, this could be prevention of a secondary injury, and that's super important to not overwork an injury and prevent that injury from happening again. So in continued, we got healthy lifestyle. This is also from Bowling and from this article in 2019. As we saw previously, from a healthy lifestyle that can like help with sleep and feeling good, and making sure that you're eating healthy and working out and being able to not overexert yourself. Show training and modification or adaptation, like hey, I've been performing a lot of shows, I'm really tired, like could I not do this trick tonight, stuff like that. Preparation and warm-up, that will help with a lot of the muscle strains. Respects of one's ability and listens to one body, that really helps, especially with these experienced athletes and performers. Previous injury experience, right? Preparation before show, mentally what do you need to do, physically what do you need to do, spiritually what do you need to do, and then load management. Again, load management is a huge thing. So, as a certified personal trainer, and I also got this from another article by Lee, Best, Wan, Liu, and Yu, in 2020, is the balance of strength and flexibility, especially in the hamstring. That was huge, to want to be super flexible, but also you need to maintain the strength in your muscles. So let's say you're stretching your shoulder a lot. This will happen in the rotator cuff muscles. We need to be able to strengthen those muscles so they don't overexert themselves. So we want to isolate those muscles. We want to do like different things that will isolate them instead of like overstretch them. And then we also got same thing, isolate and strengthen areas of the hip. So these are some things. We got a picture of a shoulder. There are a ton of muscles around the shoulder that I'd want to like cover, and I'd want to do the front and side and back, and because in circus you don't really like eyes like you use everything, right? So let's say if you're not strong in one place, like that place will tear, like that front delt will tear if you don't like really isolate and strengthen it. And all around the rotator cuff muscle. Hip, right? So hip, we really want to focus on strengthening all the isolating areas of the hip to be able to prevent injury in that area. Like it's a huge thing to be able to warm up properly, to strengthen these exercises, to not just like, okay, I'm just gonna go perform and like, oh, I'm strong enough, I've done this, kind of thing. Like you need to make sure you're not weakening working those muscles that are weaker. And then I got this picture for balance of strength and flexibility, right? We need to be strong, but we also need to stretch. So my Christian worldview, I use Romans 12, 1 through 2. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual act of worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So I chose this because this is like what, as a Christian, we should be living sacrifices in this world, to be able to, in whatever job profession, we should be pointing people to Christ. We should be, yes, caring and caring for an individual, but we should also be caring for their soul and pointing them to eternity. So whatever you do, do it as a living sacrifice to God, and this is your act of worship, to be able to point people to God about their bodies and how they work and who their creator is. So I do have the components of wellness up here as well, because it's not just physical, right? Like we're helping their physical bodies, but we gotta point them back to social. We gotta point them back to spiritual. We need to point them back to how their emotional health is. What is their environment, and so all of these things will end up helping the mind, body, and soul, right? Love your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. That is scripture. So be able to just all works together, and God made us this way, and so that's like my take in this profession. What I would want to do with it is spread the gospel through it. So here are my references, and thank you guys so much for listening. I definitely love circus, and I love sport, and I just love athletes, and I just love how God made our bodies to be able to do this. And so I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.